All right. Yes. Happy Tuesday, y'all. Yes, this is this is not a mistake. Yes, your girl is here. I was gonna go on at 7, but again, I ain't been here in so long. I just wanted to get on here and talk to my peoples and see y'all and say hi. So to everybody who watches this show, whether you watch it live, whether you watch it, as a replay, I want to say hello to you and thank you for bearing with me. I have had a rough couple of months, rough few weeks. My Not rough, but very busy. Like I was saying a little bit earlier, I have been getting jobs to translate. If you didn't know, I'm an interpreter. That's another one of my jobs. I've been doing that a lot lately for asylum hearings. My computer died on me. So there has been a lot going on, but I am finally back, and I'm so happy to be with you guys. Okay. Uh, so we are just going to get started today because we have a lot to talk about. I know I haven't talked to you guys in such a long time. In such a long time, but I'm back here for you. Okay. So our first story, I feel like this should include everyone because you guys are savvy people. If you are a Game of Thrones enthusiast, if you have ever watched Game of Thrones, put GOT. No, actually, write Dem Thrones in the comments. If you watched Game of Thrones, if you type Dem Thrones, DEM Thrones in the comments, okay? So if you were someone like me, you watched Game of Thrones from the beginning, excuse me, to the end. The last couple of seasons were basura. Sorry, they were. But, we still watched because we were engaged as an audience. So if you were a Game of Thrones fan, again, put Dem Thrones in the comment or let me know who your favorite character was in the comments, okay? Who are my favorite characters? I was with Khaleesi till she went crazy. Who else did I like? Arya was my girl. I'm trying to think who else was my favorite character on Game of Thrones. I can't think right now. And even though she was a villain, I quietly stand for Miss Mamas, the queen. Shoot, what was her name? I can't remember. But the one Lannister love queen. She was quietly someone I stand for, not for the Lannister love, but just because she was just about her paper. Anyway, so if you didn't know, or if you did know, Game of Thrones, the series, is based on a series of books written by an author by the name of George R.R. Martin. Has anybody ever read the actual Game of Thrones books? If you have read any of or attempted to read any of the actual Game of Thrones books, just let me know in the comments. Give me a book emoji, okay? Hey, love Sasha. All right. So again, George, I remember when people were like thirsty for Game of Thrones and they were like trying to pressure George R.R. Martin to finish the series. And Game of Thrones, they actually veered away because the series caught up really quickly to the book. So they kind of had to make things up as they went along. So what happened in Game of Thrones, the series, is not what happened in Game of Thrones, the book, right? So George R.R. Martin, he's still writing the end of Game of Thrones. He has not finished, right? But there is a problem that is happening right now. Hey, Hotel Pennsylvania, thanks for coming back in. I was having a little technical difficulties. If you want to come on and, talk about these stories with me, if you want to get some live time in, let me know and I will bring you right on up. You know, you my girl. Y'all go follow Hotel Pennsylvania, Lucille Verde, please. She is literally one of the best people on the entire world, the entire planet. And if you don't know her, you're missing out. Okay. Um, but yes, so George R. Martin, he's taken his time writing his books because this is his great work of his life, right? And he wants it to be quality and not the trash that we got in the final season of Game of Thrones. So the problem is because people are so thirsty for Game of Thrones content, they people have started using AI to write Game of Thrones fan fiction. So here is where the problem comes in. Okay. Chat GPT created an unauthorized Game of Thrones fan fiction. Okay. And excuse me. And so and what happened was George R. Martin tried to well, not tried to, but he launched a lawsuit. I have a real job, Jose, and you can leave. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so George R. Martin, he sued the chat open AI, the company that runs Chat GPT, because someone had wrote Game of Thrones fan fiction, and they used his books to fuel the fan fiction. And not only that, there was evidence in their computer files, because there was discovery where it showed the open AI execs talking about deleting the books and the pirated books that they had used to feed their Chat GPT program to write this fan fiction, right? So this is not a unique situation that's been happening. Even before I took this break, we were talking every week about how AI was being sued or causing issues when it comes to copyrights, right? So George R. Martin, he's one of the biggest people in the game right now because of Game of Thrones. So him launching this lawsuit is obviously throwing a lot of light onto it, right? So now OpenAI was trying to say, well, everybody knows what Game of Thrones is, and this is just fair use. And the court was like, girl, please. And they tried to get the case dismissed. But right now, what George R. Martin wants is, excuse me, let's see what he wants. He wants monetary compensation, and he wants the fan fiction destroyed, right? Because what you did was you took George R. Martin's work, his books, his copyrights, the thing that has brought him fame. Before Game of Thrones, did any of you guys know who George R. Martin is? No, we didn't. We found out because, hey, we found out because of Game of Thrones. That's how we got to know his name. So for you to now take his work and try to make derivative works is you're misusing his stuff. He hasn't given you permission to take his work and use it for something else, to make something new. Now, if the Game of Thrones books were like super old, like if you guys remember Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, that is based on an old book. Thank you for all the likes, Lucille Verde. That is based on an old book where the copyrights have run out and is now in the public domain. Game of Thrones is not in the public domain, so you can't just go around making fan fiction. So George R.R. Martin, he is getting up in open AI's, you know what, because they are using his work to make more work. To make new Game of Thrones fan fiction. All right. Now, how many of you guys, I'm going to ask you guys again, anybody watching, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, give me, put your favorite character in the comments. If you're a Game of Thrones fan, put your favorite character in the comments. Okay. But again, George R. Martin is not playing with these open AI people, and he wants them to stop using his work to fund their piracy. None of y'all watch Game of Thrones? Okay, that's cool. All right, this one, Lucille Verde, you should relate to this. Hello. Oh, Jon Snow, Nate Badia. Yes, Jon Snow was cool, but sometimes I was like, John, pull your pants up, man. Why are you being so? No. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to our next story. How many of y'all have ever shopped at Trader Joe's? If you like Trader Joe's, give me a TJ in the comments. Lucille Verde, you were just talking about Trader Joe's salad the other day, so I should see a TJ from you. Okay. Thank you for the live Christian. Wait, is that Christian? Is that your Christian, Lucille? Yes. Yes. So Trader Joe's, we love Trader Joe's because they always have these unique snacks. Oh, hey. They always have these unique snacks, and sometimes they have low cost versions of, the brand name things that we like, right? But sometimes they get a little too big for their britches. All right. How many of y'all have ever eaten an Uncrustable, a Smucker's Uncrustable? If you have ever eaten a Smucker's Uncrustable, give me a U in the comments. Now, if you don't know what that is, Uncrustables are peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that you can buy with the crusts already cut off. Lucille Verde has had them, right? Well, if you didn't know, Trader Joe's has their own version called, they have peanut butter and strawberry jam sandwiches, and they are also without crusts. Now, they don't call them Uncrustables. They just call them peanut butter and strawberry jam sandwiches. So there's not an issue over the name right now, but Smucker's is suing Trader Joe's over the Uncrustables design, meaning like how the sandwich is shaped, the round shape with the crimped edges. That is something that is distinctive to Smucker's, right? That's not something that's distinctive to Trader Joe's. Okay. Also, with the Smucker's brand, their image is like a peanut butter Uncrustable with a bite taken out of it, and Trader Joe's has the same image on their box. Lucille Verde said, "Who won't let you come on? Hold on. I'm gonna bring on my girl. Yes, I'm gonna bring you on. Bringing you on. Come on, Lucille, you here? All right. So Smucker's was like, look, Trader Joe's, count your days. You've copied the format of our Uncrustable sandwich. They said deny? That's crazy. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, if anybody else wants to come up and discuss this story, please, you are more than welcome, right? So Smucker said Trader Joe's product, it mimics their distinctive features. So the round shape, the crimped edges, the image of the bitten sandwich showing the filling, and the blue lettering on the package, right? Now, you might say, well, this is kind of petty. Please understand, the Uncrustables brand brings in, we will have a class action lawsuit against TJ soon. Well, no, because Smuckers is already going after them because Smuckers is like, this is ours. What are you doing? Uncrustables brings Smuckers upwards of $1 billion a year as of 2024. So there is a lot of money at stake for this little sandwich. Okay, it's not just about a sandwich and a cup will make that. It probably will. It probably would. But some people are lazy and they will go for the Uncrustable, Nate Batty, right? So, so now, and also there is a difference in pricing. Trader Joe's sells their peanut butter sandwiches. Everybody should make their own sandwich. I mean, every people be on the go, Nate. Come on, everybody don't. I'm blessed to work from home, but everybody don't have the same blessing. So again, Uncrustables, when you go to the grocery store, they're usually being sold at $4.79. But when you are buying the Trader Joe's version, they're selling it for $3.79, right? So if there is no difference between the two brands, if they taste the same, they look the same, which one are you going to go get? The $4.79 or the $3.79, right? Anyway, so Smuckers said, look, we put a lot of money into this Uncrustables kingdom here, this round shape and these crimps mean something. So they are now, going after Trader Joe's. 379. What's that? I don't know what that is. I'm not cool, Lucille. So when you're thinking about brands, understand that trade dress is important. So sometimes the way that a product looks is an inherent part to how it works. So you can't just copy the way somebody makes something. You don't know what protections they have on that. Oh, and $3.79. Okay. Yes. Right. And if we're looking at both of the sandwiches, now you can see this on YouTube. You can't see this on TikTok or Instagram because I am broadcasting separately. But if you're looking on YouTube and you look at these sandwiches side by side, now I will say the Uncrustables looks a little bit, they put a little bit more zhuzh in there. It's some more product, it's some more filling. But if you're just talking about bread, peanut butter, jelly, they're both the same. So, how someone designs their work is of their product can also be protected. It's not just about the name. All right. Wow, we talked about that a lot longer than I thought we would, but that's good. That means that we really got into the nitty gritty. I'm really mad they won't let you up here, Nicole. That's some haterism. Because Nicole is a hoot. I mean, well, her name on there is Lucille Verde, but she is a hoot. Okay, let us get. All right. Do we have any heavy metal fans in the house? Anybody here like heavy metal? You'll be live soon. Yes, you are building. Do we have any heavy metal fans in the house? If we do, please give me a drum emoji. Okay. Now, for those of you who can see this image, this is a band by the name of Slipknot. Hello, the Lubis. So Lubis, you're a heavy metal fan. Are you a fan of Slipknot? Let me know. Let me know if you're a fan of Slipknot. Anyway, so Slipknot, they are a heavy metal band that has, you said not since the 80s. Listen, I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about this band except for what I heard in this story. Hello, One True Empress. But this is a case of Slipknot coming after a cyber squatter. Okay. So again, Slipknot, they are from Iowa. They wear masks. They have been in the game for, apparently, according to Nate's, they've been out since the 80s. So they have a long history, right? Now in the 80s, there weren't websites and things like that ready. People weren't doing all that, right? Because there weren't any websites to have. But because as time went forward, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a certain amount of time when cyber squatting was a thing. Do y'all know 20 years? Oh, not the 80s? Oh, 20 years, my bad. They're about 20 years old, my bad. Um anyway, so if it's 20 years, they came out in the early 2000s, right? Um Around that time is when everybody started having websites. But but not everybody thought that it was a necessity. So you had people who started cyber squatting. So they would buy domain names for popular things. And the idea was that if somebody wanted that website, they would pay you, a crazy amount of money. Like, I remember hearing about people who were trying to get like millions of dollars for a specific domain name, right? So Slipknot, I guess, maybe they waited too long. Maybe somebody just beat them to the punch. But someone has had slipknot.com, the website, they've had that domain name since 2001. Now, according to Lubis, Slipknot is about 20 years old. So around the time I guess they started coming up and being popular, somebody was like, "Ooh, let me get their website name. Let me get the name of their website just in case they want it," right? So the band at the time, they didn't want to pay it, so their website is slipknot1.com. So as opposed to slipknot.com, it's slipknot1.com. But they have been trying to sue this company forever, okay? Because they are saying that it's trademark infringement. The people who got this domain name, you got it specifically because Slipknot was getting popular, and you thought that you were going to be able to, either get them to pay you some money for it or do something else, right? So since this company, and it's an anonymous company, they don't know who actually owns it. They don't know the name of the person. This person's site, they get money from ad revenue, right? So every time you go to slipknot.com thinking that you're looking for Slipknot, the heavy metal band, you go to this weird site that has ads that take you to sites that sell unauthorized Slipknot merch. Meaning, not only have you taken over the Slipknot name, but you are using it to promote people who are infringing on Slipknot's trademark. So Slipknot is going after the person. Nate, it's not the trademark that's the issue. It's the domain name. The person purchased, hey girl, hey, the person purchased slipknot.com. And they're a band, so they probably wanted that website, but when they went to go get it, it was already taken. And the person who had it, they either didn't want to sell or they wanted too much. So they chose to go with a different website, Slipknot One. But the average person who is looking for Slipknot on the internet is probably just going to type in slipknot.com thinking it's going to take them to the band's website. But no, you go to this weird person's website who is taking you to websites that sell you counterfeit Slipknot merch. So they are suing this person. The band wants unspecified remedies, meaning they haven't come up with a solid number. And this domain dispute has been going on for 23 years. Nate, you're saying that should have been created at their creation, but think about in the early 2000s, how many of y'all were thinking about having a website in the early 2000s? Yes, now we are in a day and age where having an internet presence is absolutely critical and necessary. But that wasn't necessarily the case in the early 2000s, because I'm thinking about that was college for me. So, yes, I had internet to do my schoolwork, but I didn't have a smartphone. I was not purchasing stuff online. I didn't even have a Facebook. So at that time, nobody was really thinking about websites like that. But now it's just, the natural progression. But they have been trying to get this domain name for the last 23 years. And to add insults to injury, not only does this person have the website domain name that they want, they're also using it to help people buy counterfeit Slipknot merch. So Slipknot is not taking this line down. They are going to the courts and trying to get their shmoney. Now, I don't know how possible that's going to be when you don't know who's the actual owner of the website, right? So we will have to, have to see. Lubis said, I've heard of that happening with elections like Clinton, Gore, Bush, Cheney. Yeah, like people will take the candidate's website and hope that the campaign will pay them so much money to have the website. Listen, it's a new day in the website. Okay, we are not just limited to .com, .org, and whatever else there is, right? There's so many different ways that you can have a website these days. I don't even understand cyber squatting. But anyway, okay, let me get this off of here. All right. Have you guys ever heard of storm chasers? If you have ever heard of a storm chaser, please give me a tornado emoji, or just tell me what it is in the comments. If you have ever heard of a storm chaser, give me a tornado emoji, or just tell me what it is. Okay. Do y'all know what a storm chaser is? Okay. So a storm chaser is someone who literally chases storms. It's people, when you see people videotaping like cyclones, hurricanes, tornadoes, there are people who do that as a hobby and as a profession. How many of you guys have ever heard of a storm chaser? Let me know in the comments, okay? The Lubis said, those guys chase storms and get themselves killed. Sometimes they do. Well, there is a very famous person in the world of storm chasing. His name is Reed Timmer, okay? And he's not only known for his storm chasing, he is known for his aggressive approach to copyright protection. Now, because these people are filming nature and things like that, they're going to put it on social media. It is easy for other people to come and, download it, alter it, use it for other purposes, and not give those people their coin, right? But Reed Timmer said, no, ma'am, you're going to give me my coin. And he is very serious about, people not using his videos without his permission. He actually just had a recent dispute with a YouTube streamer. And he does this a lot. He pursues legal action. That is what a copyright gives you when you are a creator. When you have a legal copyright, it gives you the right to go after whoever is using your work. So if this guy, he films storms, he gets to say who gets to use that storm film. And you don't just get to use it for free. You're going to have to drop him a coin. So he is one of the digital, content creators who he's like, look, this is how I make my money. You're not going to steal from me. So I'm going to hunt you down. When you have intellectual property, it is your job. It is your duty. It is your responsibility. All right, to monitor and make sure that nobody is using your content without your permission. Nobody is going to do it for you. You need to be the security system for your copyrights and your trademarks, unless you pay a company to do it for you. But anyway, so Reed Timmer, he is a textbook case in protecting your creations and being vigilant about it. You can't let that stuff slide, because if you is Lucille already on him? If you let them shenan once, they gonna shenan again. So when it comes to your copyrights, don't let anybody shenan with your copyrights once, so they don't shenan again. All right. Hey everybody. Okay, so let's get that down. Remove. For those of you who have just come in, you are watching Who's Getting Sued This Week. I am your host, Natalie Pierre-Lewis. I am a business attorney, business and trademark attorney. And I like to think I'm funny too. This is where we learn business and legal concepts using pop culture and celebrity news. If you need some guidance with your business, you don't know how to get started, there's some paperwork you don't understand, hit your girl up, give me a DM, and let's get you straightened out. All right, next story. Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping in here. Ooh. Okay. So this story. Okay. Oh no, this is the one I want. This is the one. This is the one I want. This is the one I need. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Bro. Okay. How y'all doing? How are you guys doing? What's going on with y'all? Are you having a good day? Okay. Here we go. How many of y'all have you guys heard of this game called pickleball? I've been hearing more and more about this game. I have no idea how it's played. I don't know what you do with it, but all I keep hearing is pickleball, pickleball, pickleball. If you know what pickleball is, please help a sister out in the comments. All right. Now, while I may not know what pickleball is, there are a lot of people who have become enthusiasts of pickleball, so much so that they are starting to make pickleball leagues. And there is a battle over the initials for between two organizations. They are both trying to use the initials NPL. Can you see why I like this story? My initials are NPL, right? But both of these leagues want to be able to use National Pickleball League, NPL, right? There's one team in Oklahoma and one team there's one group in New York and there's one group in Oklahoma, right? Wait, this is the owner of in New York who filed a federal lawsuit against New York and Florida. So the New York pickleball person says that their LLC, their business for pickleball was registered before the Florida company, right? Now, having an LLC does not mean that you own the name to anything. Having an LLC just means that you have a business, right? So I can have a business that, that I call, I don't know. I can have now granted, they will come after me. Let's say I name my business Disney, right? Of course, Disney's going to come after me, but let's just say I don't use the font. I just call it Disney, right? And I register my business as Disney LLC. That does not mean that I own the name Disney. That does not mean that I have any ownership over that name. That just means that I named my company Disney, right? So the owner of the New York League said that that the LLC was registered before the Florida League, but that doesn't mean anything, okay? Now, there has been confusion in terms of sponsors and companies mistaking one league for another. But the thing is, it's because pickleball is becoming so, what do you call that? It's becoming so popular so quickly. A lot of people are trying to get in on the ground floor. So there might be some, conflicting brands that might come out, because National Pickleball League it just sounds logical, right? So yeah, it's not out of the it's not out of the realm of possibility for two different entities to think, oh, we're doing pickleball games, let's make a National Pickleball League, right? So we are going to have to wait and see who actually gets to own the name National Pickleball League. But this is why, one, it's important to file your trademarks early, because the world is getting smaller and ideas are going to overlap. And two, understand that just because you file an LLC, that does not mean that you own or have any ownership of the name that you named your business. I remember I was watching some reality show, and one of the cast members, it was a reunion show, and one of the cast members thought they did something real cute. They were like, "Oh, I own your business. I just went and filed an LLC," and I was like, "Girl, what are you doing? Filing an LLC, that's fine, but the person whose business you think you bought, they can just go and file the trademark and tell you to change your name. Trademarks trump LLCs all the time. All right. So that being said, just because you have an LLC, that does not mean that you have any ownership over the name of the business that you chose. Okay. All right. Do we have any current or former armed forces members? Whatever branch of the military you were in, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Air Force, Marine Corps, whatever you were in, give me something in the comments. So, and also I want to say a happy belated Veterans Day to all of you. And yes. Lucia, you laughing at me? Okay. Do we have any military people here, current or past? Anyway, tell your peoples, thank you for going into the Army, because I wasn't going to do it. Anyway, so there is a guy named Colonel Chin. Colonel Chin served 30 years in the Army, and he retired, and then he decided that he wanted to run for office in North Carolina for councilman, and he won the first round, and he decided he wanted to go for re-election. Now, when you guys see elections for people in your state, I'm sure you see signs all over the place, on the roads, on the corners, on people's yards, vote such and such for council person, things like that, right? And usually and what they are limited in how they can design their political signs, but they try to make them as unique as possible. So Colonel Chin, to demonstrate that he has a military background, he had the Army. Ooh, excuse me. He had a military symbol on his sign, to indicate that he was a member of the military. Here's the problem. The Army explicitly states, the Army says, veterans, they're like, look, you may have served this country, but you cannot use military seals, stars, signs, none of that in your political campaigns. Because I don't know if you know this, people in the military, when they are active duty, They are not allowed to comment about political situations. It's against the rules, right? The Army has to stay neutral. So you as a veteran, you cannot use their symbolism on your political campaigns because it is giving the impression that that branch of the military is endorsing your candidacy, and that can't happen, right? We got any military people who can vouch for that, right? Now, Colonel Chin, for his argument, he said that he didn't mean to violate any rules. He said that he used a generic clip art. I don't know, something he found on, maybe Canva or something. But he, of course, he changed the signs. But understand that branding is important. Before you put a symbol on your stuff that belongs to another organization, you must have their permission, because putting it's like, I don't know if you watch them period pieces when you had the king and he had to send a letter, and you had the king's seal, right? You knew it was the king's letter because it had the king's seal. When you're putting someone else's mark on your stuff, that's like putting their seal on you and saying it's approved. And if you don't have their permission to do that, it's against the law and you can be sued. All right. So now Mr. Shin, he's not getting sued by the Army. He just had to change his signs. But this is when you need to be careful about the symbols you use out in the street. Okay. Just like you can't go around throwing up gang signs. All right. You can't go around using people's trademarks. Okay. All right. Next story that we are talking about. How many of you guys use a water pick? Noah. If you use a water pick, just give me a water emoji. If you like pina coladas, getting cold in the rain. Anybody own a water pick? You have Lucille Verde has used a water pick. Do you like it? Is it a good investment? What do you think about it? While Lucille lets us know what she thinks about water picks, so there is an actual company called Water Pick, PIK, and they are suing a bunch of Amazon sellers. Now, I am constantly looking at fat kid deals because they always have crazy sales. And one of the things I see on there a lot is dental flossers or water picks, right? But the actual company that has the trademark for Water Pick, PIK, they are suing two manufacturers for selling for selling water picks that are too close to their design. Okay, so Water Pick, it's a dental care company that's located in Colorado. They have said that. Okay. So Water Pick, they have they have a special type of water flosser, right? And meaning they have the way that their Water Pick works, they have some proprietary methods. And what they're saying is these Amazon sellers who are selling what do you call them? Dupe water picks, they are saying, using kind of the same language, right? They're using the same design, the way that their boxes look. And people are very into, having the latest brand thing. So if you make your product look like a Water Pick product, of course, people are going to go for the cheaper one. Just like we were talking about, excuse me, the Uncrustables and the Trader Joe peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, right? We said the Uncrustables were $4.79. the Trader Joe's sandwiches are $3.79, $3.79, right? And everybody said, well, I'm going to go for the $3.79 if it tastes the same, and it's just a dollar difference, right? Now here's the water pick. Excuse me. Y'all are saying that your water pick is just as good. You're making it look almost the same way, but it's being sold at a fraction of the price of the actual brand. They're like, you're cutting into our stuff. So they have sued the Amazon sellers, and they have said that, stop copying our style. Now, I know that we all love a deal. We all love a dupe and things like that, right? But and we buy them all the time. I buy them too. Look, I got this bracelet right here. This is a dupe. This is not real. But listen, it's not my fault they made it. All right, and I lose everything. So yes, I'm probably going to lose this in 2 weeks, and I will have to buy another. So that's my reason for not, going to the high end, because I lose everything. Anyway, so, but when it comes to these higher end brands, if you have a quality dupe that it looks the same, it works the same, everything's the same, except it's just missing the name, that can cut into their profits, right? And especially if you're making it look too close. So Waterpik is going after these other dental flosser companies, and they said, stop copying our style, figure it out. You guys out here, you want to build up your own brands. You may want to be the next whatever it is that you famous person in the area that you do, but you don't want to be their exact replica. You want to take their roadmap and you want to make it your own. You want to make your product, your service so unique that people can't do anything but know that it's you. So because I have here in the comments, Lucille Verde, right? She her services are very unique. You're not going to find her products everywhere. Everything that she does is very unique to her. Now, if somebody pops up and they trying to do the same thing, they're not calling it the same name, but they're basically just copying everything she does, and they maybe do it at a lower price point. That's cutting into her brand, especially if they're just, taking her brand and, slapping their name on it. But yeah. Yeah, but good luck to them. Let me remove this. Thank you guys for bearing with me and hanging with me. Yes, I know I was going for a while. My computer had died on me. I was booked to do some projects, and they was like, on hush hush. Okay. But I'm back, and I wanted to come on early so I could talk to my babies. Oh. Okay, so this is a funny one, and this is a quick one. All right. So how many of y'all remember when Trump he put out some AI video of him in like a fighter pilot or like a Halo suit, and he was like, I don't know, blasting people? If y'all remember that, please just put a star in the comments. Now, if you saw that video, you probably heard a song in the background. It was, yes, Dropping Turds on the Country. If you, there was a song playing in the background. It was Danger Zone by musician Kenny Loggins. And Kenny Loggins don't like Trump. Kenny Loggins is, Kenny Loggins is suing Trump for copyright infringement. He said he wants that video scrubbed from the internet. He said, I don't bang with you, Trump. I don't want any association of anything that I have created with you. So even that wrinkled scrotum in the White House has to follow copyright law, guys. Okay. when someone creates a work, a book, a piece of art, a dance, whatever it is that you create from your mind, right? That's yours. You decide who gets to use it. You decide who doesn't get to use it. You get to decide how they use it. Kenny Loggins said, I don't like you. Don't touch my music. Just like Tracy Chapman when Nicki Minaj wanted clearance for Fast Car. And Tracy Chapman said, no, girl, I don't want you to use it. But someone else was allowed to do it because she appreciated how that person was going to use it. Thank you, Lucille Verde. Right? Thanks, doll. So same thing here. Kenny Loggins said, I made this song. I didn't tell you you could have you could use it. He wants the video scrubbed from the internet. Like Obama would never, ever, ever. Okay. Let me take this down. Y'all still with me? Y'all down for a couple more stories? You good? If you're ready for a couple more stories, give me a thumbs up. I'm keeping this to an hour. And I'm picking the ones that are, okay. Yes, this is the one I was looking for. Y'all with me? Wait. Shoot. Okay. Where is it? U.S. Army. I don't know who that is. Okay. Okay. How many of y'all have Progressive insurance or have heard of Progressive insurance? If you've heard, like, Flo from Progressive. If you have, give me a P in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. Progressive, the insurance company with the spokesperson Flo. Give me a P in the comments, okay? So, Progressive has been around for a while. We know the brand. Thank you, Sunflower Vibes. I had Progressive for a little bit. And, they have very distinctive branding. A very distinct, you love Flo, hate the company. I heard Flo is not a nice person. Yeah. Anyway, so Progressive, the insurance company, they have been around for a while. Their brand is worth about $4 billion, right? And because it's such a popular name, of course, someone might think, dang, I wish I could, get in on that progressive money. Well, a Maryland towing company tried to, and now they're in trouble. Okay. So a Maryland towing company, they named themselves Progressive. They used the same font and coloring on the side of their tow truck. And they called themselves Progressive Towing and Hauling LLC. Now, if I am the average driver who is looking for a tow company, and let's just say I don't have AAA, because AAA is one of the big ones in towing, but let's just say I don't have AAA, and I'm looking for tow companies, and I see Progressive Towing and Hauling LLC. Would it be reasonable for me to assume that this Progressive towing company is affiliated with Progressive Insurance? What do you guys think? Let me know what you think in the comments. Would it be reasonable for the average driver looking for a tow truck and finds a company named Progressive Towing and Hauling? Would it be reasonable for them to assume that you were associated with Progressive? And Lucille said, I wouldn't because it's such a common and positive word. But it wasn't just the word. They used the progressive lettering and the color. So you can't see it on the screen right now. But if you're looking on YouTube, there's a picture of Flo and it has the progressive logo on there. That was the same progressive on the truck. And I actually remember seeing this truck driving on the road. And I was wondering if they were affiliated with Progressive. Lucille Verde said, oh yeah, I would, because of the logo, right? Now, if they had chosen a totally different color scheme, totally different font, maybe you could have gotten away with it. But the Progressive logo, while it is simple, it is very recognizable, right? So this towing company is in a lot of trouble. And again, I told you the Progressive insurance brand is worth about $4 billion. Okay. Now, Progressive, they became aware of the infringement around March 2025, and they sent cease and desist letters, and the tow company just ignored them. Okay, they kept using the branding. So now, Progressive, they want money. They want the court to make them stop using the logo. They want any profits that they made. They want treble damages because they ignored the cease and desist, and they want attorney's fees. Now, Progressive has been around for 88 years. They've spent a lot of money building this brand up, okay? So understand, just because you are you might think you could get away with it because you're small, but no, like I said, brands are vigilant about their brands, especially when they invest in them, when they're worth $4 billion. If I had anything worth $4 billion, you best believe I would have 24-hour security on it day and night. So I don't blame Progressive for what they're doing. And, and they tried to be nice. They sent a cease and desist. They said, hey, could you stop? And the tow company was just like, oh, I can't hear you. So now you in court. Ladies and gentlemen, don't use other people's trademarks. That is the lesson. Okay. And this is going to be our last story for the evening. Excuse me. I'm getting parched, y'all. I'm getting parched. Excuse me. Okay. How many of you guys watched the original Who Framed Roger Rabbit? If you watched the original Who Framed Roger Rabbit, excuse me, please give me a bunny emoji in the comments. What you mean I got 2 minutes remaining? Instagram, apparently I'm going to get cut off in a couple minutes. So please come join me over on YouTube or TikTok. Okay. Thank you for the bunny, Lucille Verde. Well, if you didn't know, so Disney basically hired someone to create the Roger Rabbit character. It was a work for hire, right? And they hired this guy named Gary K. Wolf. So, oh no, I'm sorry. My bad. Wrong person. Anyway, Gary K. Wolf was the author of a novel in 1981. And it was called Who Censored Roger Rabbit. So he was the original creator of Roger Rabbit, right? He sold his copyrights to Disney. But there is a rule in copyrights that after 35 years, if you sell your copyrights, you can get them back. It's something called termination of transfer. Apparently when Gary Wolf sold Roger Rabbit to Disney, they made the first Roger Rabbit, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and there were supposed to be sequels, but they never came. And then Disney still had the rights to Roger Rabbit, but never did anything with it. So now, what you mean? Okay. All right. So now, after all of these years of Disney basically just sitting on Roger Rabbit, Gary Wolf, the originator of Roger Rabbit, he has gotten back his uh he has gotten back his property, and he is already hinting at wanting to do you know movies and stuff. So he wants to create more Roger Rabbit media, and now that he has it back in his hands, he can do just that. So the last lesson I want to keep you guys with is that yes, you can sell your copyrights, but you can also get them back. There is something called termination of transfer that happens after 35 years. That's how Anita Baker was able to get back all of the copyrights for her music, because she outlived all of her contracts with the music studios. So yeah, even if you sell your copyrights after 35 years, you can petition to have it returned to you. So if you see Roger Rabbit material coming out in the next few years, Gary is, he's putting the work in. All right. So this is where I'm going to leave you guys. It's been about an hour. Thank you guys for bearing with me and my absences. Now that things are back, we are running like a train. All right. So this is where I'm going to leave you guys. Have a wonderful night. Take care of yourselves. I will be splitting these videos up and putting them on YouTube if you want to hear the individual stories. And I also, if you just want to talk to me about business, I do offer free 15-minute consultations. So hit me up in the DMs. All right. So I'm going to leave y'all here. Have a good night, y'all. Love ya. Love you too, Lucio and Sunflower. Hey, y'all.